Shravanam Diaries podcast.
Reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, the book by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai. Chapter 9, The Most Confidential Knowledge, Text 5. Nacha matstani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram bhuta brinnacha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. I really love this exclamation of Krishna's. Behold my mystic opulence. Okay. Purport. The Lord says that everything is resting on Him. Matstani sarvabhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe on his shoulders. He seems to be very tired, holding this great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The planetary systems are floating in space, and this space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated. Therefore, the Lord says, quote, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. In the Nirukti Vedic dictionary, Yujate Nena Durghateshu Karyeshu. It means, quote, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying His energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and His determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of Godhead is to be understood. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments. And sometimes, it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by His willing, everything is performed so perfectly, that one cannot imagine how it is being done. I always found this point to be very inspiring. And, different people, different devotees have different prayers to the Lord. And as long as I remember myself, even when I think it started when I was about 12, I would always pray that let everything be as Krishna wants it to be, right? Because we may think of it's in connection with firstly, we may think of something, but there will be so many impediments, and it may not be possible to happen. But if Krishna wants to do something, right here it says that just by His willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot even imagine how it is being done. So I would always pray basically that let Krishna decide and do whatever He wants with my life. And that's like the best course of action. And I would not recommend anybody to pray in that way, in the sense that sometimes Krishna's reciprocation to this prayer may be something you never expected. So the only way you can pray in this way is if you will only always continue to pray like that. Meaning no matter what happens, you will understand that this is the best for me because I was praying to Krishna to do something in his own way. So then you can't at one point drop it and say that, no, I didn't want this, or no, this should not have happened. No, you've been praying that may Krishna do everything he wants. Then everything will be perfect according to Krishna's version. So then that kind of mood has to continue. Otherwise, you will just spoil your faith and everything. Yeah. So, the Lord explains this fact. Although He is maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, He does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by His supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is manifested, and everything is annihilated. Therefore, there is no difference between His mind and Himself, as there is a difference between ourselves and our present material mind, because He is absolute spirit. So this is the trick, actually. There is a difference between ourselves and our material mind. So, you as a soul, you have no other business than to serve the Supreme Lord in exactly the way He would like you to serve. But material mind has its own desires from past lives, has its own ideas for the future lives, right? Because material mind, it wants to have future lives, right? Because when we die, the gross body dies, but the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, false ego, they travel to another gross material body, if you will take birth again in the material world. So material mind, it is in his best interest to keep you occupied, to kind of like stay alive and cling on you, right? But for you as a soul, all of these desires, all of these aspirations, material aspirations, you have nothing to do with them, technically. So the way to pray to Krishna, like, my dear Lord, please do everything as you wish to do. Let everything be done according to your desire in my life. You can only do that if you don't mind being right next to the material mind, which is going nuts because things are not happening the way the mind would like it to be. And believe me, it's not something easy. I've seen people who literally lose faith, stop being devotees, go into complete karmi, meaning like karmi zone, or you can say just, not like atheism, but more like they give up the practice just because they couldn't handle the way their life turned. Of course, later on, after 10, 15 years, they come back, but time is lost. So just like people are warned not to chant daily the prayers of Kunti Maharani, right? Let these calamities come again and again. It's a very, very, very high level of prayer. Unless you're able to digest it and really go with it, don't play with it. Of course, Krishna is the most intelligent. He knows what you can and cannot handle, but you also have to be honest with yourself. Which lessons you can, which lessons you can't handle. I remember I used to always pray to Nrsimhadev that, Nrsimhadev, please, cut open my heart and put your nails inside and take out all of those anarthas. And then I met a friend of mine, Gauraseni, She knows me from Moscow Gurukula. She was like, no, not for me. I'm like, what? She's like, no, I'm not praying like that. I'm like, okay, it's not. I'm like, Nrisimhadev is not gonna hurt you or something. She's like, no, for me, I just want Nrisimhadev to come to me and say, Haribol. And I'm like, okay. This literally, and that Nrisimha Chaturdashi, it was, which year it was? 2016 Nrisimha Chaturdashi. It was just me and Gaura Seni watching this Abhishek of Lord Nrisimhadev, drinking up Charinamrita until we all got intoxicated, and just telling to each other, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. So, yeah, it's something very individual. So whether your relationship with the Lord is that, my Lord, please be gentle on me, I beg you, please. Or your mood is that, my Lord, how do you say, like, scatter all of my inimical desires, burn my anarthas, and let me, like this, how do you call it, slice up all of my false ego so that I would surrender. Different people have different moods, and you can't really, like at that time I was thinking something's wrong with me. Yeah, I shouldn't pray like so harshly like that. But actually I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I actually find it very exciting that, like the nails of Nrisimhadev, like, they're inside my heart, something like that. I find it like, it's nice for me. Maybe it's not nice for somebody else, but that's why we need to understand that the Lord, He has an individual relationship with each one of us. So let's continue reading further. Because He is absolute spirit, simultaneously the Lord is present in everything, yet the common man cannot understand how He is also present personally. I think, okay, we'll finish this purport and I'll say something. He is different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting on Him. This is explained here as Yogam Aishvaram, the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, what to speak of understanding that Krishna is a person and He's inside of your heart and He's everywhere? It's very difficult to digest, or very difficult to constantly be conscious of, because we don't yet have a relationship with Him in the proper sense of the term. Because if we would know Krishna is a person, and we would just talk to Him and look at Him and serve Him day and night, right? So I find that, like, this purport for me right now, it just clearly defines that yes, Krishna is everywhere, and Krishna is with every one of us, but He is a person, meaning you can pray to Him, you can talk to Him, you can reveal your mind to Him, and He will reciprocate, and He will, and maybe He will do it in His own time, and that's okay, right? That's perfectly fine, because Krishna knows what's best to do. This reminded me of how I was talking with a close friend of mine, and somehow, like, sometimes in conversation with devotees, you say things that you would not say on your own. Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think Lord Chaitanya was talking to, I forgot who he was talking to. Lord Chaitanya was talking to one of his associates, and he said that, I don't have any knowledge, just because of your presence I'm able to say something. So I find this is so true. Like, on my own, sometimes they're like, I don't know what to say, or I don't have some deep realizations just sitting looking at the wall or something, right? But as soon as you associate with devotees, you start saying things that you would never say before. Like, really, I said that? So to that friend of mine, I told him that, if, how do you say, I quoted my Guru Maharaj, who said that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he is not a very stupid person. He is a very intelligent person. He knows exactly what he wants from every living entity. And I told him that it's not like you are there saying, I don't know what to do with my life. And then you turn to Krishna, and Krishna is like, I also don't know. Right? So it's like, Krishna knows, actually. He knows exactly what he wants to do with your life. Are you willing to surrender to his plan? Because believe me, it's the worst combination when you have two friends in one boat, and one of them really wants to surrender to Krishna, and the other person is really like freaking out with everything that's happening because of another person's surrender. You understand? But as I've heard also devotees say, even if there is one devotee on the boat will never sink. I said it the first example I said in the way that when you closely associate with a family and your family is devotees, the way the family unit functions, it really depends upon what each individual within the family wants. And I'm not even speaking about my family, meaning me and my husband. I'm speaking about my family, meaning me, my dad, my mom, my sister, my brother, my grandma, when we used to live in one house, right? So, like, the family dynamics, like, in devotee families is just so, like, far out, because each one is a devotee, and each one wants different things, and the way things unfold, it's really something adventurous. Yeah, but at the same time, even if one, just like, if you ever come to Mayapur, old-fashioned way by the local train. After local trains in Mumbai, I find local trains in West Bengal to be very, very nice. So you go on the train, and then you have to cross the river. So my dad and I, we came to the first time I came to Mayapur, because the first time I came to Vrindavan, I was 3 years old. Only 3 years old. I don't remember anything from the trip to Vrindavan, but I have pictures. But the first time I came to Mayapur was 2010. And we came by car, but we were going back by the local train. So I remember me and my dad, we came, it's empty boat, we sat down, and we're sitting, and suddenly people start coming, and then people start coming, and then people start coming, and then more people are coming, and more people are coming, and then it's like there's no way that there's space on the boat. And I'm looking around, I'm like, what is this? I've never seen such sitting arrangement on the boats in my entire life. Like I've been on boats like on Moscow River, and it would be like you can run around the boat and to find people, or it's a big boat, and it's different here. It's a small wooden boat, and it's filled up with people, and I was so scared because I don't know how to swim, and I've always been afraid of water. So I'm like, oh, Krishna Chaitanya, what is going on? And I'm starting to, sometimes when I'm very emotional, I start speaking out loud. All of my family members know that. And I'm like, my dad is sitting next to me. He's amused because it's not his first trip to Mayapur. And I'm like, my God, please, the boatman, please start the boat. Boatman, please start the boat. like saying it like almost to myself, but like I'm anxious, right? Like, please start the boat, please start the boat. And then suddenly I see that 3 effulgent Prabhus, I think they were brahmacharis, or they were in white, with a mridanga. They're coming down. And I remember this thing that if there is one devotee on the boat will never sink. And I'm like, wait, don't start the boat. And I see that they're going by the stairs. I'm like, no, don't start the boat, let the devotees come, at least then we will not sink, we will not die. But the boat left, and maybe because my dad is a devotee. I mean, actually the boats never sink over here. I was just having a panic attack. Okay, so 19 minutes. Let's continue reading. Yatha kashastito nityam vayu sarvatra gomahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthanya upadharaya. This is text 6. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere, rests always in the sky. All created beings rest in me. Purport. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive, and in that sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes. So this is another point. When we pray to the Lord, please, my Lord, make everything in my life just the way you wish it would be. Just so that I could serve you purely. Like my Guru Maharaj says, we have to dismantle our protective fences. We have to open up our hearts and say, I'm ready to serve you, Krishna. Do to me whatever you wish so that I could serve you purely. Because, like, now we go into this, Prabhupada says, everybody knows this also. I think it's a proverb, or is it just Srila Prabhupada that, I think maybe it's Srila Prabhupada. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So your life is already in Krishna's hands anyway. So it's a question, are you doing it willingly or unwillingly? Meaning, if you don't pray to the Lord to be in control of your life, then karma is in control of your life. And karma is subordinate to Krishna anyway. So it's your choice. But no matter which choice you get, it's gonna be Krishna who is in charge. Of course, we are more familiar with karma. That's why sometimes we're like, no, let everything be according to my karma. Then, because I'm a very pious person, and like I'll tell you, my dad, he used to be a very well-to-do businessman in Tajikistan. He opened a temple there, he had a driver there, he had very expensive equipment, which, like, in Tajikistan nobody knew that computers, like, really can do so much, and he had everything. Then as soon as he got second initiation, he's like, everything was taken away from him. So and after that, as long as I remember myself, my dad would say, austerity is the wealth of the brahmanas. Austerity is the wealth of the brahmanas. But when he would go, like, he went to India somewhere, and there was this astrologer, palmistry expert. He looked at my dad's hand and he said, you're very rich, you're very, wealthy. And my dad is like, where where so it's like so, like, some people, like, they're afraid. Actually, I know one uncle of mine who actually came to Krishna consciousness much before my dad. He was chanting Mahamantra, like, when he was a college student. He believes in God, he has faith, he is a pious person, he has a family, but he doesn't take up Krishna consciousness in its full, practice. And I heard him say it personally, I heard it. He said that, but Krishna takes away everything. I'm not ready for that. And I think that this is one of the biggest reasons that it's very difficult to preach in Asian countries. I would speak for Central Asia because I'm from Central Asia. In Central Asia, people have family circles, people have so much sense gratification, you can eat so much, so many like fruits and this and that, and the association between family members is like such a high standard, refined way of how you can love and be a family. So it's like Krishna taking it away, or anarthas starting to pour out and disrupt the family unit, or like we have to take up somebody else's karma because we preach, and then it will disrupt our sense gratification. It's very, 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 very hard to digest sometimes, but I believe that unless you have that higher taste, first of all, I believe that 2 points are important, like as a Central Asian, what keeps me in Krishna consciousness, right? 2 points. First of all, my intelligence is convinced, because at the end of the day, all of us are like Munis, right? We're thinking, what is life? What is world? So if intelligence is convinced, that's half of the job done. And secondly, when you realize that Krishna consciousness, there's actually even a much, much, much higher level or higher caliber of happiness. It's much higher. Nothing can compare to an amazing kirtan, to an amazing lecture, to wonderful sadhu sangha, to the most delicious far out prasadam. Nothing can compare. So these 2 points have to be, I believe. I mean, my dad, he really inspired me that maybe one day I will also preach in Central Asia in one way or another, because my Guru Maharaj asked my dad to bring more Tajiks into Mayapur. And my dad was like, at least I brought you people, meaning his family. He's like, at least I brought you. Govinda Maharaj told me to bring Tajiks to Mayapur, at least I brought you. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, let's continue. Let's finish this purport. Yeah, we're going 27 minutes, and I know that when we were reading teachings of Queen Kunti, we would go for 40 minutes per episode, and it's a little hard to digest, but okay, we will not do this every day, but today we will do this. Where did we stop? Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under His will. By His will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, He is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Yad bhishavatah pavate. Quote, it is out of the fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.8.1. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.8.9, it is stated, Etasya vaksharasya prashasane gargi surya chandra masau vidritau tishtata etasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi dyav aprithivyav vidritau tishtataha. Quote, by the supreme order, under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the moon, the sun, and the other great planets are moving. Unquote. In the Brahma Samhita 5.52 also it is stated, Yachakshureva savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurtirashesha teja yasya gyaya brahmati sambrita kala chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord, and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving in its prescribed orbit by the order of the supreme will of Krishna, of Govinda. So, from the Vedic literature we can find evidence that This material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This will be further explained in the later verses of this chapter. Kala Chakra. Kala Chakra. One thing I wanted to mention, which I read in Krama Sandarbha, I believe, of Jiva Goswami, this quote that out of fear of the Supreme Lord, the wind is blowing. It was described by Jiva Goswami that the Supreme Lord is just like a magnet. So, just like when you bring magnet closer to somebody, when you bring magnet closer to the iron things, they begin to stick to the magnet. Or if the polarization is adjusted, the two magnets, they will just run away, right? They will not stick, they will just run away. So similarly, the wind blows like out of fear of the Lord. Like it's something that Jiva Goswami describes, that it's something that happens just because the Lord is coming. Just because of the presence of the Lord, things just start moving in fear, you know? So it's something that it's very interesting. Like, I think that it can also happen to some extent between us. I mean, meaning I'm just trying to find a way so we could definitely relate with it, you know? Like, I don't know if you've ever had this experience that you're in a school and you're writing your exam, and then you feel with your sixth sense that behind you the teacher is coming, and you have like goosebumps and then you start doing the test even harder and then like you can feel how the teacher is looking at your exam paper, and you have this like fear that, oh my god, did I do something wrong, right? And then the teacher loudly says, please read the questions very attentively, otherwise, you'll make mistakes. And then you're like, what did I do? Of course, I'm not talking about myself, because I would never have problems in school, but my classmates did. And I remember that kind of observing that kind of interaction between them. All right, so we shall stop here for today. It's a 32-minute episode. It's a bit over our standard size, but what to do? I'm not in control. It's Krishna. I'm not in control. We'll read the text 7 tomorrow, starting with the word Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya. And Krishna will be speaking about what happens at the end of the millennium. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The book links, previous episodes timeline, and biography of the author can be found on shravanamdiaries.com. The link is in the description, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna